Hey guys, welcome back to some Diablo 3, 11:10 here, and today we're going to be going over our Season 9 build. So I'll start off by saying this is just for funsies. This is the build I'm playing. I'm not super serious with Diablo 3. I just wanted to play something different. Don't expect to get to the top of the ladder with this build. Everybody's doing the same cookie cutter, Manald Heal, flavor of the month gem, flavor of the month build. I don't want to do that, it's boring. So I'm playing something that's interesting to me. If you're looking for an interesting build that you haven't seen before, this might be the one. It's not a new build, it's not something I've invented. Perhaps I put a little bit of flavor on it, but like I said, it's just for fun, so don't take it too seriously. The main crux of the build is based around an item called Etched Sigil. So your Ray of Frost, I'm basically focusing on Ray of Frost here, so I'll just say Ray of Frost. It casts one of your other damaging arcane power spenders every second. So this is what it looks like, for example. So it's casting my Blizzard, Black Hole, and Meteor at random every second. The next big part is Hurgbrash's Binding, reduce arcane power cost of Arcane Torrent, Disintegrating Ray of Frost. So it's down to costing me 3. So basically I never run out of arcane power. My jewelry is incomplete. I haven't been able to get all the items yet. I'm looking for Convention of Elements to put in here, or maybe Ring of Royal Grandeur to either cube or wear. That is my cube items. My legendary gems, I am using the Red Soul Shard. Now, admittedly, it's not the best, but I want to play it, so I'm going to use it. I have negated the actual downside, which is a stun, by using Crown's Buff Bracers. So I'm immune to the stun effect of that gem. So periodically it just shoots out the fire damage. I focused on leveling my other legendary gems, which are Teguk, Bane of the Stricken, and Bane of the Trapped. I kind of played around with Bane of the Stricken. I considered maybe using Bane of the Powerful, but again, these are ones I've chosen to use, and the benefits for this build are pretty good. So with Teguk, you gain 3% damage for 1.5 seconds when you spend a resource. Basically, if you see the stacks going up and up and up, this is what it looks like when you're fighting a boss. You just get more and more damage as it goes along. Bane of the Stricken ties in with that because you're consistently hitting the enemies with the Ray of Frost. So your damage is just going up, it's double dipping. And then Bane of the Trapped, they're always, at this point when it's level 25, they're always snared. Plus you have the snare from Blizzard and Ray of Frost. So you're getting triple dipping in the damage buffs there. The other items I have are important to this build is Mantle of Channeling. I'd like to get an ancient version, obviously, or a better version of the actual item itself, but I did cap out on the extra damage, got 25%, so that was good. I got a crappy int roll, so I re-rolled int instead of the familiar damage. The next item I'm using, which is pretty good, is Traveler's Pledge set. So, or rather the Endless Walk set, as it's called. You get 100% extra damage while standing still. Again, pretty good for channeling. And the other one is Light of Grace. This is optional, but there are many benefits to using this particular offhand. If you manage to get a better Etched Sigil, then you get Light of Grace, which I have here. It's debatable if it's better or not. I'm considering cubing this one. I might swap this in. I think I will do. I just got it about 15 minutes ago, so I haven't gotten around to it yet. I have to farm more bounty mats. But either one of these, this is huge because in some of the rifts where there's like tight corridors, you can obviously shoot the whole way down the corridor with Ray of Frost, but if there's a bigger mob with huge health pool in front, you're not going to hit anything behind him. So with this, you'll clear out the whole corridor in one fell swoop. Boots I'm currently using as I haven't found anything better, but they do buff the meteor damage by 200%. So I'd like to get Ice Climbers, which will give me immunity to freeze and jailing effects, which will help with survivability. I'll get into survivability in just a minute. But for the moment, these are being used and they're doing a pretty good job. I haven't managed to get Talrasha's legs yet. I'm still waiting on those. I'm using Talrasha head and Talrasha chest for the 2-set bonus. I think if I'm lucky enough to get the items, I'll use Ring of Royal Grandeur and do a 6-set bonus for Talrasha. So I'll be able to take advantage of all 4 elemental damage spells. Moving into my gloves, I'd like to get Frostburn, but I haven't managed to get it yet, so I'm sticking with Mage Fist. The next thing that I want to show you is the skills themselves. So, Ray of Frost obviously is the main damage dealer. You can switch between Snow Blast and Black Ice, but honestly, Black Ice, you don't kill that many with Ray of Frost, or at least you don't reliably kill with Ray of Frost because of so many other spells proccing for you. Meteor kills a lot. It kills a lot. Blizzard does a lot of tick damage. So you can pick Black Ice if you're killing quickly with Ray of Frost, or Snow Blast to give you the extra damage. It's pretty consistent damage because you're channeling it on them. Blizzard, now I was using Unrelenting Storm for the extra bonus damage, but as I got up to the 30 plus Greater Rift, my toughness wasn't good enough to survive some of the melee hits that I was getting, so I switched into Frozen Solid. If you've got good toughness, use Unrelenting Storm. If not, Frozen Solid will help you survive a lot more. You don't need this one because it's irrelevant. You could use this depending on what way you want to do your elemental skills. Teleport, personal preference, is my get out of jail free card. I use Wormhole so I can teleport twice. Pretty much self-explanatory. Again, Black Hole, I'm using Event Horizon as a survivability method or mechanism because it will eat arcane orbs, it will eat lightning, it will eat all those nasty things that the mobs like to leave behind. When my toughness gets up to a better level, I'll maybe use Spell Steal or Supermassive. Energy Armor, again, I was using a 4th Arcane Power Spender. I was using what was I using? I was using Arcane Orb, Frozen Orb here, but survivability meant I need to switch into a armor spell, and I've chosen Energy Armor, Prismatic Armor. You can obviously pick Ice Armor or Storm Armor depending on what your personal preference is for those. Prismatic has served me well. I don't necessarily need the Arcane Power, so decreasing it by 20 doesn't really affect me, but it does help my toughness significantly. The passives, Elemental Exposure, pretty much required. You have the Frost damage, Fire damage, Arcane damage, and if you want, you can switch into a Lightning. So I could switch this to Lightning and switch this to Fire, and then I'd have all 4 elements. At the moment I needed the Frozen Solid, so we're sticking with that for the moment. The next one is Glass Cannon. Again, you can switch this out for Blur if you're having survivability issues. But the higher that you get with Paragons, the more, the easier of a time you'll have with survival. Unwavering Will, very much a good synergy with Ray of Frost. You're standing still channeling, you get all the extra stuff. And then Audacity, pretty much 30% extra damage. So your Blizzard, your Meteor, all these fancy stuff, plus what you're channeling into Ray of Frost will just melt. So the other one you could switch into is Cold-Blooded. So you could forego Elemental Exposure and use cold damage on all of these if you wanted to, and use Cold-Blooded. Optional, just another variation. So Paragon points, finally. Again, you could use these as personal preference depending on your situation. I need movement speed right now, so I'm using movement speed. I would switch into attack speed if I didn't have enough critical hit damage. That would be the next one. The higher your attack speed, the more ticks you get from Ray of Frost, so your tail gun will ramp up quicker. Defensive, I need life. maybe not so much now. Again, personal preference. And you don't need resource cost reduction. If you don't get the belt that reduces the cost of Ray of Frost, pump this until you get it, then switch into whatever you need. I need life per hit for recovery. Again, my toughness is pretty poor right now. Otherwise, I'd pick area damage. So, what am I missing? I'm missing Death Wish. I'm missing Convention of Elements. I'm missing Ice Climbers, and I'm missing Talrash's legs. So, and Talrash's belt, I think. Once I get those items, I'll be good to go. You'll notice my gems aren't leveled as much as they could be. I haven't done enough bounties to get those recipes for the jeweler. I've been focusing on getting my Greater Rift level up and my gems up to a respectable level. So we're going to go ahead and do a Greater Rift. And like I said, I'm not too high up. I'm only level 34. I haven't actually done 34 yet. I did level 32 a little earlier today, and it unlocked these two. So I'm going to do this one now and see how it works out. So let's go. Alright, before we go into the Rift, I forgot to talk about my main weapon. So at the moment I'm using Shard of Hate, which it says elemental skills have a chance to trigger a powerful attack. Now, I only really cast Ray of Frost, so if you see that little white skull flying across the screen there, that's the freezing skull. I don't have a poison skill, and I don't use any lightning skills, but you'd have to cast it. It doesn't proc off procs, so Blizzard doesn't proc this, or if I had a lightning spell here and it was procced by Light of Grace, or rather Etched Sigil, it wouldn't proc Shard of Hate. You actually have to spend the resources on it yourself. But this is not the ideal item I wanted. I want Death Wish. Now Death Wish, just see here in the cube what the effect is. I haven't managed to get it yet, but the effect is that while channeling Ray of Frost, all damage is increased by 35%. So that's obviously going to be huge. I'm doing respectable damage at the moment, but once I get that, plus Convention of Elements, plus some ancient items, plus Talrash's bonus, oh baby. So let's go into this Greater Rift and see how many times I fail in front of everybody. Okay. Damage can be a little bit inconsistent because you're waiting sometimes on a meteor. Some of these mobs have a lot of health. Now I ran into a bit of a wall around 32. I had to try 32 a couple times, and that's when I switched into prismatic armor and switched into frozen solid for Blizzard, because I was getting hit by melee from some mobs. I do have some problem mobs that really cause me difficulty, and that would be Lacunis, the ones that jump at you, because you want mobs to be in front of you. You want them to line up in front so you can just black hole them or chain them up on Ray of Frost. But if they're surrounding you, you kind of have to maneuver yourself so you can get them all at one go. Now you'll notice I'm using the Enchantress. Again, my survivability will go up if I was using a Templar. So if I come to a point where I need that meat shield, I will switch to a Templar. So we'll see how that works out. See, now I'm in a little bit of trouble because I have a succubus behind me. Just have to kill this off. And this is where Black Hole comes in, because it can eat these arcane buffs. You see the Diablo gem going off there. This is why I want Ice Climbers, because I won't be stuck with those jailers. But again, if I had a higher toughness, it wouldn't be an issue. So we haven't had too many packs yet. I want to get a couple more so I can... There we go, here's one. Wallers can be a bit difficult too. Okay. So hopefully we'll beat the timer, or else it'll be pretty embarrassing. I do struggle with some of the Guardians. Again, like I said, once I get more gear, it won't be as big of an issue. Outside of Greater Rifts, I'm farming T7 at the moment. So T7's pretty easy. With only 672k health, though, you can't really take too many hits. So. But there are easy fixes for me to use should I find myself struggling. Like I said, put in the Templar would be the big thing. Get rid of Glass Cannon would be another thing. You're compromising damage, but once I get those extra bonuses, I may not need that extra piece of damage. You don't want anything behind you because you can't afford to take too many melee hits. So we're doing okay here. Just have to not die. I do cast the Arcane Spenders occasionally. If I get a nice group, I'll drop a meteor on them. Now blizzards don't stack, so I never cast Blizzard. That's why it's on my left click. Meteors don't tend to stack either, but you can place a meteor in a different spot pretty quick, and it'll do pretty good damage. I struggle with the Reaper guys, the ones that drop lightning on the ground, and I struggle with the Cooney guys, but that's pretty much it. You can get caught out sometimes by those chargers, the ones that charge from halfway across the map. We don't see them in time, but Blizzard generally takes care of them. The spells that the Enchantress is using do quite a bit of damage too. She's got a pretty nice weapon. She's using at the moment Scourge with 3400 damage. Like I said, a lot of fine tuning left to be done, but I'll be using the same skills. I'm not going to change anything on this except my item quality. I'll switch out some of the runes if needed, but I'm going to use this through the end of the season. I really like the Ray of Frost. Get out of these. You see the damage a meteor does quite heavy. That's the red soul shard proccing there. We're cutting it a little bit close here. I don't know if I'll be able to beat the timer. Need to get a couple more packs.
Need more time.
There we go. Well, we're a little bit ahead. Okay, this will help.
Fences are nothing.
Don't want to be eating that ice thing there. If you get stuck in melee range, you can teleport out, or just black hole on yourself, which will let you run away. It's not ideal that they're separated, so I want to get them together. might need some cooldowns. Again, Paragon points will help with that. Throw all my Paragons in there. It's nice to have a black hole as and when you need it. Now the Diablo gem does a lot of damage, but because it's so unreliable, you can't make, can't really expect it to do too much. And it doesn't, it goes out at like eight different angles, so when you're fighting a boss, you have to position yourself north, south, east, or west of him to guarantee that it will hit him if it procs. You see there, it's not one-shotting anybody by any means, but it does okay damage. A little bit of kiting here. I only ran into a little bit of trouble there with arcane power because I spent some on a meteor and didn't let it recover. Try and keep my Taeguk stacks up. If you stop channeling for just a second, your Taeguk drops all the way down to 0. So, gotta be careful with that. Aggro a bunch here so they come up into a little group. There we go. I'm looking okay so far. You can see that the Blizzard Freeze is helping a lot. These guys are quite quick. You also have the pushback from the Enchantress. Now there's pros and cons to that. She sometimes pushes them out of an AoE that's about to drop, but a lot of times she actually saves me. Get away from these arcanes here. Yep. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. I was waiting for it to spawn, and it went, eventually went the way I was going. So get these all together here if we can. Obviously with greater rifts you can run into bad luck and you get a bad set of mobs that just don't work for you. This turned out to be a pretty okay one. They're all pretty slow melee characters. Melee mobs. Skeletons are ideal, ghouls are better. The legendary potion I'm using is just a resist one. I didn't get the one that lets you break through walls. Kind of want that one, honestly. Because Waller is a big problem and Jailer is a bad combo for me. I'm struggling a little bit with this one. See, that's a bad combo. It's Jailer and Waller. So it's blocking me from doing damage. Now I'm in trouble here. Jailed again. Okay. Oh, I might be in trouble with this guy. If he hits me once, I'm pretty much dead, so I've gotta be careful not to get stuck in a wall. This is where a Templar would really help. Oh, got a bit of lag there, doesn't help. We have plenty of time, just don't die. There we go. Alright. So moving on up. Let's just level our gems here before we leave. We'll go to 20 with this one. Kind of want, well, it doesn't really matter. I try and level them up in equal measure because I thought I got 4 in equal measure so that they don't get too out of sync. But that's a greater rift. Like I said, it's only 34, 35. Was it 34?
I am stronger still.
I'm going to go ahead and do 35 and continue on. I'm pretty confident I can get to 45 without really changing too much. But if I get the items I want, that'll be a completely different story. Yeah, that's no good to me. Basically, my items are set in stone. I'm not going to change out of these two. I'm not going to change out of this. I need new pants, I need new boots, I need new weapon, I need new gloves. I'm not going to change out of this. I'll just only swap it out for a better version of itself. And if I get, I'm going to do some farming for this, rather for the bounty mats, and then I'm going to use this one and cube this one. But that's it, guys. Like I said, a fun build. Try it out if you're interested. That's what I'm going to be working on for the next couple of months, season 9, or a couple of weeks, depending on how bored I get, how quickly I get bored. Oh, I got another buff bracer, but it's a poor version. So yeah, I'm gonna go farm some more. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. I don't want this. Ooh, 30%. Maybe it'll work for my Templar. I don't need that. So yeah, I'm gonna go farm some more. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.